So today we're jumping into something super important, which is how to make sure your Facebook ads actually reach the right people. Whether you're new to this or you're just trying to tune up your strategy, we're going to break it down so it feels a lot less like guesswork and more like, yeah, I got this. We'll keep it simple. So here's what we're going to cover today. How big your audience should be. You don't want to blow your whole budget on a tiny group. Where they're located, number 2, because ads showing up in the wrong places, useless. What they're into, finding people who actually care about what you're offering. And lastly, custom and lookalike audiences, which is using data you've already got to make targeting an absolute breeze. If this sounds like what you're looking for, then stick around and we'll make this quick. Quick heads up, if this kind of stuff that I'm putting out helps you, it'll do me a massive favor if you click subscribe, like the video, and you'll be notified as soon as the next tip drops. All right, let's get into it. So we've already done our campaign objectives in the last video. I'll drop a link in the description below if you've missed that. So now it's time to make sure that the right people see it. Otherwise, you're just going to be throwing money into the wind, into the void, and we don't want that to happen. So let's start with the ad set name. In one of the last videos, we created this campaign. So we called it Demo T campaign. Eventually, we're going to be making an instant form campaign for gyms in Copenhagen. So we're going to run through that. So we're going to click on our ad set in the top left here. And first of all, we're going to give it a name. I like to have the campaign level as my product or service or item, so a top level. So for me, this is a lead form. That's my product. Then the ad set level, I then like to have as my audience that I'm targeting. And then the ads I like to have as named in my creatives. So we are going to call this Copenhagen Audience 01. Okay, great. So to start with, we can ignore this section in conversion. We will come back to that, of course. You will have the Facebook page selection here. So please select whichever Facebook page it is that you want to publish this on, whether it's your business or personal. You will get a lead ad terms of agreement that you do need to read. Just make sure that nothing in there scares you and go through accept so you don't have any issues down the line. You've then got a performance goal. You have a couple of options here depending on what you pick. So we've got maximize number of leads and maximize number of conversion leads, which is a relatively new thing that Meta's brought in. For now, I prefer to do my maximizing number of leads because I will handle the conversion and the conversion rates through my follow-up forms, through the cold calling, through the email follow-up sequences, etc. So I just want to get the maximum number of people as possible onto this cold email list for this gym. So next, we're going to ignore the cost per result goal for now. We are not going to click dynamic creatives. These are most beneficial for, at the moment, we've seen in e-commerce businesses, if you want to get a lot of images, a lot of headlines, a lot of variations of those to A/B split test as quickly as possible. Like I said, we're going to go over the budget and schedule in the next one, so we'll scroll past this, and then we get into audience controls. So first up, let's talk audience size. You really want to avoid getting too big or too small here. It's a pretty fine line. So if your audience is too small, your ads won't reach enough people to actually make a difference. And if it's too big, then you're wasting cash on people who won't even care. The sweet spot is enough people to get noticed, but only the ones who actually matter. I like to keep it around 1 to 5 million, just to be sure for that mark for most campaigns. So we're going to go into location first. This is pretty straightforward. Your ads should only show up where your ideal customers are, where you want them to be. If you're running a local business, stick to the small radius around you in your area. And if you're selling online, then focus on the countries that you think will have the highest conversion rates. And also where you can actually ship product to. There's no reason to pick somewhere in Far East Asia if you can only ship locally with Royal Mail in the UK. It's just not going to work. So no need to target the places you can't reach. So for our case, we are going to go into audience controls. We're going to go into locations and edit. And we are going to type in here. We are going to type in Copenhagen. You'll have to excuse the typing. I've got my microphone here and I cannot type blind. So I'm just going to smash the keys till I find out what I'm looking for. Okay, great. So we've got Copenhagen, capital region of Denmark. And next it comes up with a radius around there. So this is what I meant for if you're a local business, a small business, and you just want to target 10, 15, 30 miles around your local area. So for now, we're going to leave that as it is, 25 miles around Copenhagen. Okay, great. So next you'll see this option here where Facebook says, reach more people who are likely to respond to your ads. If you look on the information, they say the potential outcome is 6.7% lower cost per result. In reality, please, if you're interested in doing this and letting Facebook do its thing, it's fantastic at finding the right audiences. Just do a split test on the region that you've selected and then the advantage options that Facebook gives you here. That's the most reasonable way to do it, and you'll get the data that you are looking for. I'd like to also bring your attention on the right-hand side over here to audience definition. So you recall earlier I mentioned 1 to 5 million on my audience sizes. There is an ongoing counter here which will show you whether you're too specific, too broad in Meta's terms, and tell you underneath what your estimated audience size will be. So whilst you're going through your locations, your interests, you can check exactly what your estimated audience size is meant to be. Now, let's get into interests. And this absolutely is where Facebook shines. Quite often of the time, I also advise for people that don't know what interest to target, just let Facebook do all the heavy lifting for you. They have billions and billions of data sets on people all around the world. They understand exactly who your ideal customer is before you even know it. How it works is, let's put it into literal terms. Facebook is a large fishing net. So imagine we're throwing a large fishing net over Copenhagen. We're going to throw it over, wait a few minutes, pull it back in and see how many fish we've caught. Okay, we targeted the whole area. We got 7 or 8 fish and we know roughly where they are. This does take time and it does burn through budget. So you may have heard sometimes there is a learning period on audiences. This is where Facebook's doing the wide net casting, trying to understand where the people are in the city, in the country, in the world who are interested in your product. Now, you can actually speed up this process and target people based on what they're into. So if you're a gym owner, for example, you can target people who are into fitness, health, maybe specific workout trends like CrossFit or yoga. And the key really is to not overthink it. Don't get too focused on the audience selection. Just focus on what makes sense for your business. Sometimes if you do go too specific, it can actually kill your ads because it depends on what Facebook has categorized your audience as being interested in. So for example, I'm really interested in knitting, but Facebook's only category for that is sewing, and you pick sewing. It's not actually going to target me in the exact way that you want it to. So please don't put too much effort into this. Just dive in, say, okay, gym's great. Let's target people who like yoga. So in order to do this, you're going to go into Advantage Plus Audience. As you can see, they say our ad technology automatically finds the people who want to buy the product, but you can give it a nudge. Okay, so now we have age, gender, and detailed targeting. This is all of the data that Facebook would otherwise automatically choose for you, your product, your service, whatever it is that you are advertising. So in age, we are going to leave it as 18 to 65 plus. We'd want to target a broad range of people who are interested in the gym. For gender, we are actually going to go with just women. We're going to put out some yoga adverts, so we're just going to target women in this case as most likely. And then we get into detailed targeting. So this is where you're giving Facebook the nudge. And as you can see here, it says include people who match demographics, interests, or behaviors. So we can put in here yoga. So we've got yoga, yoga fitness, yoga teacher, etc. I really want you to pay attention. Mine's always hidden with this scroll bar. What the selection is on the right hand side. So you've got employers, interests, job titles. If we're trying to get people to come to our gymnasium and we target yoga employers, it's going to target the incorrect type of people because that'll be targeting people who run or own a yoga business. So instead, we want to target people who have an interest in yoga. They're interested in getting involved, interested in topics to do with yoga, and more likely to sign up to your gymnasium for a yoga class. So we're going to click yoga. This is actually an incredibly useful demographic tool. So you can actually target yoga page owners. Say Yoga is Fun Copenhagen as a page. I'm not sure if it exists. It may do. And you can target the owner of that page, which is going to be a pretty diehard yoga fan. All right. And whilst we're in here, this is where things get really cool. Really, really cool. So we've got in this create new up here, we have two options, custom and lookalike audiences. If you've already got a list of customers or website visitors, you can upload that to Facebook and retarget them with your ads. This is great for staying top of mind, as I've mentioned before, with the people who already know about you. And if you want to go even further, we have lookalike audiences, which let you target people who are similar to your best customers. It's absolutely crazy. So Facebook's algorithm does absolutely all of the heavy lifting for you here, which makes things a whole lot easier. And you can focus on the things that actually really matter, which is the message you're putting out, your thumb-stopping creatives, and getting a rock-solid offer that people actually want to sign up for or want to buy. That's it. That's pretty much the basics of audience targeting for now. We'll go into some more complex stuff in a later video. Keep it balanced, don't overdo it, and let Facebook's algorithm do some or most of the hard work. Next up, we're going to be covering how to set up your budget and avoid just burning through cash when you set this up for the first time. In the meantime, feel free to reach out to me here on YouTube or on any of my socials that you're viewing this on. And with that said, we'll speak soon. Bye for now.